Hey, I'm Johan Glidden, and this is a closer look behind each of the songs on my new album, Unprepared.
What now? The wind stopped blowing, and I'm out in the middle of the ocean floating. I'm not going anywhere.
Unprepared was a song that I wrote right at the beginning of the first big shutdown during the pandemic in 2020. The opening lyric is, "White noise of a dark time, cold feet walking a hard line." And it was this real transitional period of my life where I had been growing and putting certain practices and things out of my life and moving into this new period of trying to make music that glorified God, and then I just felt kind of lost with the craziness that was happening. And it's like, you surrender everything and then you're still stuck in this place of, well, what now? You know, the wind stopped blowing, I'm stuck, you know? And, but I thought it was fun to kind of juxtapose that sort of serious, heavy imagery with a fun kind of pop rock song. And it's different from any other song on the EP because it's got real drums and it's nice and pumping and there's electric guitars. I just think it's a good way to start the album, just full-blown, inadequate, messy, and just completely honest about it.
Oh, good God in heaven, come in and open up my heart, 'cause you know I feel your presence, but I still can feel the dark. So take a good look inside me and tell me what you find.
So Through Your Eyes was probably the easiest song to record on the album. I just had this 4-chord piano loop that I loved, and I had a little bit of trouble finding the lyrics for it, but eventually I came up with it. It's a meditation kind of from Psalm 139, where he talks about, "Search me and know me and see if there's any grievous way in me." And it's this idea that we're so vast and so deep and wide that we actually need God to show us what is right and wrong in us. We are not able to introspect without His help. And then I just love the groove on it. I really had a lot of fun putting that together, the drums and the bass, and yeah, it's one of my favorite songs on the record, so I hope you like it.
And it's kinda scary, it's kinda scary how I see you everywhere we used to be. I thought I had you buried.
Scary is a really interesting one because I grew up having a real aversion to horror in general. My dad taught film classes, and I remember seeing a bunch of horror movies when I was like 6 or 7 years old. Sorry, Dad, for throwing you under the bus. But he allowed me to watch them, and after that, I really didn't watch horror movies for years, and I kind of ran from that. But it is truly scary when something that you thought you'd put away, some sin of your past, maybe a relationship, a fear, whatever it is, something that you thought you had buried and put to death comes back and haunts you, and you can't believe what you see come out of yourself that you thought you would put away completely. And I remember just sitting on the couch at like 1 in the morning by myself in a dark house, writing that song and getting kind of the chills and getting a little freaked out. And but I think it's valuable to dig into it in that way, and it was really therapeutic for me to go there.
And we are every lonely night, and we are every glimpse of grace.
I think that We Made You really stands out on the album because it doesn't sound like any of the other songs. It's basically one guitar and 2 vocals panned left and right, Simon and Garfunkel style. And it's the turning point as I see it on the album. The first 3 songs are very introspective and on the darker side, and then the last 3 are looking up and praising the Creator and and full of gratefulness. And I think that I needed a transition song, something to lead us to that place. And so I kind of see it as dawn breaking in the album. It starts out at night, and then we're finally reaching the sunrise as We Made You starts, and it leads right into Shores of Nineveh. And so yeah, I'm really excited about this one as well.
Oh, here I am on the shores of Nineveh. The ocean spit me up, oh, it spit me.
Jonah is probably my favorite character in the Old Testament because he's such a mess. And I so relate to the way that he runs away from God immediately after being told what to do. And so I've written a bunch of songs about him over the years. But Shores of Nineveh, I think, is the most positive one because it ends where Jonah ends up, which is in Nineveh. He goes and he does what God told him to do. And that's what this song is about, is that journey of running away and running into the deepest water and trying not to listen, and then eventually saying, all right, here I am, I'm ready, lead me to where I said I'm not gonna go, I'm ready to go, let's go. So I think it's the song that defines this whole album, because that's what this song is about, is from that journey of running and self-hatred to running back to the arms of God and accepting that love and saying, all right, I'm ready, let's go where I said I wouldn't go.
No, I'm not running to the north. I tried to feel you in the earth. I tried to feel you in the earth. I tried to see you in the eye of justice.
Still Small Voice was the first song that I wrote of this batch. And I remember going out for a walk, I think to get some groceries, and over the course of that hour that I was out, I wrote the whole song, and it was finished by the time I got home. So it was a pretty simple process of writing. The production was more interesting. It took a few different iterations of this song to get it right. But one of my favorite things is on the pre-chorus when I sing, I'm not running to the noise, I have all of this noise from that I recorded in my house and in, I think, a sports bar one time, a bunch of different places, and compiled it all together, and that plays in the background while these church bells ring. And so I really enjoy the production on this one, and I hope you do too.
And now I finally realize I could live a million lives and never get it right.
I wrote Under the Overpass in Ellensburg, Washington, car camping by an overpass right next to a river. And I was on this trip by myself trying to rediscover and re-experience God's love for me in spite of who I am. And I remember just sitting there at night in my car and accepting the love of God, realizing, as it says in the song, that I could live a million lives and never get it right, but I can just rest here in your arms. And I think it's the proper resolution to the album, because the first song is called Unprepared, and it's all about not being ready for anything that the world is going to throw at you and feeling inadequate. And then Under the Overpass is about absolutely feeling inadequate and absolutely knowing how much God loves me even in that inadequacy. And it was just a place that I really needed to go, and it's the most meaningful song to me on this record, and so it felt like the proper way to end it. And I just hope that if you're watching this, that you know how much God loves you, and that's all that matters. And so I hope that if you get anything from this album, it's that in our inadequacy, in our anxiety, in our sin, God loves us so much. And that's, if you get nothing else from the album, I hope you get that.